All right, so on this episode, I think we were just taken aback by the overwhelmingly cool trailer for Peter Jackson's new Get Back documentary with the Beatles.
Yes.
I watched it on my way home from work the other day on the subway,
Mhm.
which is probably not the best choice because it kind of like went in and out as I lost my signal. But
Yeah.
I couldn't stop myself. I was so, I was like a kid in a candy store. It was like a Star Wars trailer or something. Like I just was so excited about it.
Yeah.
And
And it,
it didn't disappoint. I'm so excited about this documentary. I can't contain my joy. I told
and
my
it's
friend the other day, like, this is like more exciting to me than a Marvel movie and a Star Wars movie rolled into one.
interesting. A friend of mine posted the trailer today on Facebook, and I said, I can't wait to see this. And he goes, it looks so much more interesting than a Marvel movie, doesn't it?
I shouldn't be like throwing shade at Marvel as a way of being excited about this because I love Marvel movies. It's apples
Yeah.
and oranges, but
Right. Right.
I just am astounded by how, all these years later, no matter how much has come out about them, you give me a little more that I've never seen, and I'm
Hmm.
in heaven. Like I just want more that I've never seen.
Yeah. And this is such a great twist on that, because I remember seeing Let It Be in the movie theaters. There was a movie theater in town that used to play, kind of odd movies like Let It Be, and it would play the Monty Python movies, and so I must have seen Let It Be probably at least a dozen times.
Oh wow.
Um, and it's like I just in high school, being a Beatle fanatic, even though the movie's slightly depressing, you
Yeah.
know, I just wanted to see it. And so to hear about all this new footage that has just been sitting around for what 50 years,
Hmm.
um, and to see some of it in the trailer is just like it's. I think it got people emotional.
It got me emotional. I think I only saw Let It Be once when I was a kid, when it was in the
Hmm.
movie theater. So I really
Yep.
remember very little about it. I, but yeah, for me, it's just the excitement of watching them work together. I don't. That's one thing I've never really seen. Like
Mhm.
in all the things that there are out there, the movies and whatever little bit of footage is out there,
Yeah.
you never really have gotten a chance to see them work together and
Right.
create in real time. You know, uh, so it's just so exciting.
And it shows, you know, a multifaceted kind of view of who they are. Let It Be was kind of picked all the the scenes where they're arguing or they're depressed,
Yeah,
and no one is like that all the time, you
right.
know. And these guys had known each other for a while, and to see like these scenes of them joking around and having fun and you
Hmm.
know um, working things out musically was just really cool.
Yeah, and helping
Yeah.
each other, like that part where
Oh,
they're
for
helping
something.
George write the lyrics to something,
Right.
Where we've
Oh,
all
just
seen a million times the clip where George gets mad at Paul, and,
mm,
if you want me to play it this way, I'll play it this way. If you don't want me to, I won't play it.
right.
Like we've all seen that so many times. But here's a clip where he's genuinely asking Paul,
Right.
like, I don't know what to do with the lyrics here,
Yep.
and then John chimes in, and
Just say anything for now and then fill it in later. Yeah.
yeah,
Cauliflower or whatever.
yeah. Uh,
Well, yeah, those are the two of the best people to ask
yeah, pretty much.
if you're going to ask somebody for advice about songwriting.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think this has the chance to become maybe one of the greatest documentary films of all time about
Oh
musicians.
yeah.
Peter Jackson obviously is a little hit or miss, but when he's at his best, he's ridiculously
Hmm.
good. I thought the Hobbit
Yeah.
films were not so great, but
Yeah.
I think when his heart is in something, like it was obviously with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I think he's one of the best out there. So
Mm,
I think in his hands, this is going to be really, really special.
yeah. I think so too. just seeing the trailer, and there was another teaser, what, about 5 months ago,
Yeah, that was cool.
and that was like, oh my god, when is this coming out?
Yeah, I guess it
Not
was
soon
supposed to
enough.
come out a while ago, right? But COVID held it
Yeah,
up. Yeah,
COVID held it up. Yeah, he's been working out of his studio in New Zealand, right?
yeah.
They shipped all the film canisters to him, and oh yeah, I think it's gonna be great.
I hope that they don't. Here's one thing I hope they don't do. I hope they don't pepper in little interviews with like uh modern
Mm.
music people talking about
Oh
how
yeah,
much this means, like Billie
right.
Eilish talking about how impactful the Beatles have been to her. Like I don't want to see any of that. I don't
I don't.
care
Yeah,
about that. I
or
just
Bono
want
and Sting.
I want 57 hours of the Beatles. I don't care. I don't want anything
Yeah,
else.
I think it probably will stick to that. I can't. I mean, I know Bono and Sting kind of show up in every documentary,
Yeah.
you know,
And Springsteen too. He tends
and
to.
it's like, what do these guys have to do with this? You know.
Right.
Um, but I don't. Not. I guess I am poking a little bit at them, but I can't. It doesn't seem like it would go that route,
Yeah, I don't think so either.
just based on the trailer and the teaser that came out.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, maybe Yoko,
right?
'cause she was
I could
there.
see, like, Yoko or Giles Martin.
Yeah.
People that were associated with them.
Or George's wife, right? She's still alive, Olivia. Did she die?
Olivia, yep. No, she's still around.
Or
Yep.
Danny Harrison, maybe,
Right. Kids,
Um,
Sean or Julian.
right.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
these other people show up.
No, I don't want to see it.
I don't think people need that.
No, I don't think so either.
People know how they feel.
Yeah. Uh, so anyway, the release of this or the trailer itself got us excited, and so we
Right.
for this podcast we're going to be doing our 10 favorite music documentaries / concert films, because Let It Be, this thing really is going to be both, right? Because it's
Oh yeah.
you can see that they're leading up to this roof concert.
Yep.
So it's going to be a concert film. It's also going to be a documentary about the making of
Yep.
something. So we decided to open up our list to be either of those two things.
Right. We have caveats.
All right. So we'll keep an eye on time as we go through.
Yes.
And I'm going to do mine chronologically.
Oh man,
So
you're
from
so
the
organized.
well, I have to do it as I'm talking. But
Okay.
anyway, so it'll be the most recent, at least the best I can,
Uh-huh.
to the oldest.
Okay.
And I think
Yeah.
it almost works out that the one that's the oldest is also my number one.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
All right.
All right. You want to
All
go
right.
for? You should go first then. That was a good lead-in.
Okay. So my number 10 is one that just came out this summer.
Yeah.
The Amazing Summer of Soul.
The Questlove. Yes.
Questlove documentary.
Yep.
I thought that was just amazing. I loved it. It was great timing because we needed something like that.
Yeah.
The performances were great. It was well put together. I was just a smile on my face for the whole thing.
I loved how they talked to the people in the neighborhood who came to the show, and they had pictures of them, from back then and then now talking. That worked so well. And the music, my God.
Yeah, and it also features footage that has been locked away for 50 years.
Exactly. There's a theme going on here.
Yeah. What else might be out there, right?
What else is locked away? Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. The Stevie Wonder performance.
Yeah.
About the Nina Simone performance was incredible.
Oh yeah.
Come on, the guy from the Temptations.
David Ruffin.
David Ruffin, yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
But just the whole vibe of the thing was just so cool.
It was interesting seeing the kind of divide in, from like I'm putting on a show, kind of like, the Temptations or even the Fifth Dimension,
Mhm.
versus someone like Sly Stone with, you kind of moving away from that. I'm putting on a show, I've got my suit on,
Yeah,
we all match, we're all doing the dance routines. Um, to something that's getting a little bit more wilder.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Great choice.
yeah. That's my number 10.
All right. I have no particular order. Um, and probably a lot of my choices won't surprise you too much. This is a documentary from 2017 from one of my favorite bands ever, um, from the west of England, XTC, a documentary called This Is Pop, um, which has had very limited, it's like consistent with XTC, they were always on the verge of kind of breaking through, and then they stopped touring, or then they went on strike. And consistent with that, this was only released in the US on Showtime for like a month. But who has Showtime? Um, but because I'm a nerd, I'm on this XTC Facebook page. And some guy in Ireland says, go to YouTube today. I just uploaded the video.
Oh,
You can watch it. So I watched it on YouTube, illegally, I might
oops.
add.
Can we say this
Boop,
stuff during the podcast?
beep, yeah. Um, and it's a really cool documentary about one of my favorite unheralded bands, um, from their beginnings as kind of this kind of new wavy punk pop band influenced by Iggy Pop and the Stooges and the New York Dolls to kind of, I think Stuart Copeland's in the documentary, and at one point he says they were one of the few bands that broke out of the punk mold. They could actually play their instruments. They liked the Beatles. You could hear like harmonies,
Mm.
and it kind of documents their growth as a band.
Mm.
So
I know you love them. You're probably the
yeah,
biggest XTC fan I know.
I think I probably
And
am.
you've got me
Yeah,
into them a lot, actually.
yeah. I think they're great. I think Andy Partridge is such an inventive songwriter.
Yeah.
Um, the way he takes his influences, and makes them his own.
Mm.
Um, whether it's the Beatles or John Cage, or you know, he's kind of, um, I think he's taken his music, further and further as each album comes out. You
Hmm.
know, and the band themselves, they were all contributing something unique to the band. Dave Gregory, the other guitar player, was just a masterful guitarist, and
Hmm.
he could score. He did a lot of the arrangements. He could play the piano and the keyboards, and the bassist Colin Moulding um,
Hmm.
had a very McCartney-esque style to his playing, I think,
Hmm.
kind of melodic. So
Well, good
yeah,
choice. I'll have to track that one down. I guess this might be hard to find, but
yeah, there is a version somewhere, but it's got like pop-ups galore apparently.
uh,
So yeah, you probably don't want to
Amazon,
watch that.
maybe Amazon will get it eventually because they do have a lot of music documentaries.
Yeah, I went back and kind of researched it today after we emailed, and I was wondering,
Mhm.
well, is it available? No, it's not available yet. Okay, it's only, if you live in the UK
Hmm.
or Ireland, I think you can watch it. So
Yeah. All right.
all
Well, good,
right.
good one. Okay, my number 9 is the next in line chronologically.
Uh-huh.
I think it came out in 2018. It is the Aretha Franklin documentary, Amazing Grace,
Oh yeah,
which
great documentary.
was so cool. I mean, I think a lot has been written about it already, so there's probably nothing new I could
Mhm.
add to
Sidney
it. But
Pollack directed it, right?
yep, Sidney
Yep.
Pollack directed it, who passed away a few years ago. He went on to be a very famous director in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just great footage. It's really raw.
Hmm.
There's not any effects in it or anything like that. It's just pure playing of great music.
Oh
Aretha,
yeah.
uh, I think she's already huge at this point, right? So it
Yep.
was kind of like she was coming back to do something kind of quiet and under the radar a
Yeah.
little bit. Although,
Yeah.
how under the radar could it be if the Rolling Stones were there? But
Right. I know, standing in the
um,
back. this church in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was really blown away by the house band that was, backing her up.
Right. Oh yeah.
They were
Corn,
amazing.
yeah. Cornell Dupree was on guitar, I remember. Yeah. Who was on everything back
The
then.
bass player I thought was really great.
Oh yeah. He
Um,
was.
and then she was just, you could sort of tell the whole time that she was a little uncomfortable. That I just got that vibe just from looking at her face.
Mm.
I don't know if other people felt that way, but she just felt, I don't know, she seemed a little uncomfortable, like that she just wasn't relaxed, even though it's
Yeah.
amazing and she blows it out of the water.
Right.
Um, and it was cool. It was just great, her dad, and just seeing her in that setting was really, really cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Good choice. Yeah.
oh,
This.
I also love the gospel band, the gospel choir behind her,
Oh yeah.
and
Yep.
how much screen time they got. Considering that you have this icon to be filling
Right.
your footage with,
Yeah.
but they got a lot of screen time.
Oh, they did. Yeah.
And
That's a good
they were
point.
just amazing. And again, the band was great and so cool. Such a cool documentary
Yeah. That
slash
was
concert film.
right. That was 1972, right? Or something
Yeah.
around there. Early
When
70s.
I think so. And then she did that Paul Simon song, right? Which Paul Simon song did she do?
Oh yeah.
I can't remember, but
I don't either. Yeah.
yeah, she does a Paul Simon song at one point, and
It'll come to us
it
at
was
3 in the
cool that
morning.
she brought in pop music as well as church music, even though she was
Right.
performing at a church, but she was still like remembering the other
Hmm.
side of who she was now, right? That she was also this pop star, and so
Oh yeah. Exactly.
um,
Yeah. That's a
yeah,
good
I
point.
loved it. It was beautiful, a beautiful movie.
Yeah. Good choice, man.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. My next one, I think this came out about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It's a documentary about the jazz trumpeter Lee Morgan.
Hmm.
I called him Morgan.
Huh.
Um, I knew Lee Morgan from playing on John Coltrane records. Um, but this was such a fascinating documentary. I mean, he didn't even have to be a jazz musician, but the whole story behind it, like he was, like this wonder kid, he was 19 years old and he's playing with Coltrane and everybody. And unfortunately, he develops heroin addiction and it hits him pretty bad. And he's befriended by this older woman, Helen, who kind of takes him in New York City, helps him recover, kind of gets his career back on track. Um, he gets a new band together. He makes these records like the Sidewinder, which is kind of a big hit for him in the jazz world. Um, and Helen, um, I think she was maybe 10, 15 years older than him. Um, and they kind of go through this relationship into the 70s where he kind of gets a little bit more well known. I'm gonna give away. I'm gonna spoil it. I guess I'm gonna give the spoiler away, but it's well known. He goes to play this concert in the middle of the winter. I think it's 71, 72 maybe, at a place called, I think it's Sluggos in New York City.
Hmm.
And it's snowing. It's like a blizzard, and he drives there and he gets in an accident but he's okay. He gets out of the car. They start playing. I think they play their first set and Helen bursts in, who's now his wife, and accuses him of having an affair, right? And they argue and he like physically throws her out of the bar, and she comes back a few minutes and shoots him. And he's wounded and she's, so they call an ambulance, but it's snowing. The ambulances can't get through in time, and he ends up passing away.
That's not in the movie, is it?
It's a documentary. No, they don't.
Oh,
They
right.
talk to his musicians and his people recount. I mean, it's a well-known story in the jazz world.
Right.
But and I guess Helen Morgan only served a few years for this,
Hmm.
and then went into hiding. And she did a radio interview like in 2006, and it was brought up, and they kind of incorporated it into this documentary. like what kind of led, they've been together for years. What led to this? It was kind of like a mystery almost. So
Why did she only serve a few years? You
I
know?
don't know. I don't remember.
Huh.
I'll have to go back and look.
Wow.
She got off some technicality. I'm not sure what, but
Huh.
so it's a really fascinating documentary.
Interesting.
It's
Yeah.
not happy. It's not happy, but you know,
Okay. What's it called again? What's the title?
I called him Morgan.
Huh.
His last name was Lee. It's Lee Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
great jazz trumpeter.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't know him very well.
yeah.
I'll ask my brother if he knows him because he's a trumpet player. He knows a lot of
Oh yeah,
artists, but
yeah. So from a fascinating kind of mystery point of view, I really thought it was a good
yeah,
documentary.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That
All
sounds
right.
really interesting.
His dad's like, oh boy, cut.
All right. I'm a little worried about you getting out to pick up. Who do you have to pick up?
Charlotte. Oh, we're doing okay.
You sure? Because I
Yeah.
maybe we could do two at a time if that helps.
We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
I'll keep them short too.
All right. Now I get a little jumbled up in terms of chronology, so I'm just gonna kind of go through a few here.
Yeah.
So my number 8 is George Harrison, Living in the Material World.
Hmm. Was that Martin Scorsese? Did he direct that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that came out maybe 7 years ago.
That sounds right.
Just a kind of a guess.
Yeah.
Um, it was great, like sometimes if the subject is already someone I'm hugely interested in, it's almost going to be impossible for me not to like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was great. Even if it hadn't been about George Harrison, it was just a really good piece.
Yeah.
Um,
That's true.
so there's not a ton to say about it, except that I was, just as a huge fan, I just couldn't get enough about him. And so
Yeah.
to have this be out there made me very happy.
Nice. Yeah. I agree. That's a great documentary.
Yeah.
And yeah, if someone's going to direct a documentary about your Scorsese's a good person.
Yeah. Good choice.
Oh, good one. All right. All right. I'm going down my list here. My next one is a BBC documentary from 2003. It's Richard Thompson, Solitary Life. And you can watch this on YouTube, I think. And they basically follow him around.
Mhm.
He divides his time between America and England. And so they're
Mhm.
both places. They follow him around. And they kind of, talk about his career, starting with Fairport Convention as, 17-year-old, guitar genius and then starting to write songs and all the way through a solo career. So I thought it was really well done. It's very kind of in the Richard Thompson vein, kind of low key,
Mhm. Mhm.
English don't, no, it's okay.
I was in Saugerties, New York this weekend. I think I had
Yeah.
and they have a great bookstore there, right
Oh, the one
across.
on the corner?
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that bookstore.
yeah, and they had his book, which I think you just read recently, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Highly recommended.
yeah. I'll have to get that at some point.
Yeah, there's some great stories in there. You should read it first and then we'll talk about the stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a great scene in the documentary where he's walking someplace, a flea market or something, and he's being
Mhm.
filmed by the BBC. And this woman at one of the tables, she's probably like in her 30s or 40s. She goes, "Oh, what are you doing?" And they're going, "Oh, we're making a documentary about Richard Thompson." She goes, "Should I know him?" And they said, "Well, he's a musician." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm a folk musician." And she goes, "Like Peter, Paul, and Mary?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." He just, it's just that kind of effacing kind of,
That's always my response too.
yeah, okay.
Oh, you're a folk musician, like Peter, Paul, and Mary? Sure.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. He could tell it didn't bother him. He wasn't,
Right. Yeah.
out to prove anything. So
it's worth just putting it out there that just because there's a documentary about an artist that you love doesn't mean that it's a great documentary. You know, I,
Yeah.
I've turned on more than a few that I was just very excited about. I got my snack ready. I was like,
Mhm.
this is going to be great. I love this musician, and it just wasn't. Like the one that comes
Mm.
to mind is there's a Tom Waits documentary. Maybe
Mm.
some people like it. I don't know. And I don't want to
I don't think I've seen that.
throw shade at it or anything like that. But
It's all right. Be controversial. That's okay.
yeah, it was just kind of blah. Like it just wasn't that interesting.
Yeah.
Um, so you do have to also make a good film for it to be
Oh yeah.
or to make our lists.
Yeah. You better be.
It also better be a good film, which my
That's
next
right.
one is.
All
Uh,
right. What
this
do you
one I
got?
think came out also maybe around 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Uh-huh.
It's called Sound City.
Sound City.
This was a documentary about unless I've screwed this up and picked the wrong title for what I'm thinking of in my head, but this was the one about that classic mixing board, that board that
Oh
was in a
yeah.
studio in California, and
Uh-huh.
Dave Grohl is kind of the principal person in it who I think got it made and everything.
Yeah.
But it was like this one board that was in
Mm.
this one studio, and actually I maybe moved around to a few studios, but it became like an iconic board for the productions that it was part of and what it was able to produce. Like they talk about it as if it's some kind of magical thing. Like
Really?
whoever made it, I don't remember, it's not really like off the top of my head, but it was I think it was a German sound engineer built the thing, and then it ended up in California, and it was, just this giant board. We've seen a million of them,
Yeah.
but this one had like magic in it or something. And so all these musicians would come from all over the place to record in whatever studio had it at the time so that they could have a chance to use it.
Oh, nice.
Um,
I have to check that. I haven't seen that.
yeah, you'd love it. It's really good. I
That
think it's
looks
called
great.
Sound City. Yeah. So
Okay.
I'll double check on that because I don't want to make sure I'm not misleading.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. I like
I'm
that.
pretty sure that's it.
You'll make a note of that.
Yeah.
Sound
Sound
City.
City came out in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the one. Uh, yep,
Okay.
yep. So
Good
check it.
recommendation. All right. Something
Yeah,
for me to watch.
yeah, I like that one.
Are you ready for my next one?
Yeah.
All right. Winnie and I were talking about this one earlier because I said, "Oh, Dan and I are going to do a podcast on documentaries," and she goes, "What about that one?" And it was originally filmed in the late '60s and not released, but it came out in '96, and I got it on the VHS tape at Amoeba Records in California, and it's the Rock and Roll Circus by the Rolling Stones,
Oh yeah.
which is more of a concert film, I guess. But I'd
It
always
goes in
wanted
and
to,
out, right? They also have interviews and
yeah, they have interviews.
yeah.
I always wanted to see it because I had seen the performance of the Who, and it's always written that the Who kind of smoked the Rolling Stones in this, and that's one of the reasons why they didn't put it out. And I have to say that rumor is true after watching it. I mean, the Rolling Stones were just like sloppy and not good
In this
um,
particular,
in this particular movie. Yeah,
yeah.
and I don't. It might have been, they might have been filming all day and
And the Who
exhausted.
and the Who was amazing.
Oh, the Who were just. It's a really cool. Like everybody else in the film is like Taj Mahal's in it, and he's got a great band.
John Lennon's in it, right?
Yeah, John Lennon is like the first super group. It's like they're called the Dirty Mac.
Right.
Like I think Mac like a rain jacket, in England.
Hmm.
And it's him and Mitch Mitchell, Keith Richards, and Eric Clapton, and they do Your Blues,
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
and they also do a Yoko song. I can't remember with a violinist, an Israeli violinist
Hmm.
whose name escapes me as well. But they sounded good. There's one funny part where they're coming out of a section of Your Blues, and I think Mitch Mitchell kind of like doesn't play it just right, and you see Lennon give him a quick look. But who else is it? Oh, really early Jethro Tull play a song.
Mhm.
And it's kind of before their whole, prog thing, I think. And the Who they're just amazing. They're firing on all cylinders, and they do their kind of mini opera there, a quick one while he's away is the name of the song.
Yeah.
And they're tight, and their harmonies are there. Everything sounds great, and then the Rolling Stones come on, and it's just like Brian Jones doesn't look well at all, um, and they just look tired.
Hmm.
So, but it's fun to watch as a document of that time period,
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. That's the next one on my list.
Is that also the one where Keith and Mick are sitting in with a bunch of people and they sing Salt of the Earth?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And there's clowns and everything, and
Yeah, there's
kids.
clowns, and Mick has on a really funny hat, I think, or maybe
Yeah,
Keith, one of them does.
yeah,
And they just are both being really silly the whole
yeah.
time. And Charlie Watts is in there in the background a little bit.
Right, looking stone faced. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. That's good. So let's see. I'm gonna go with I think this is, I'm not sure what year it came out, probably around 2014, 20
Mhm.
Feet from Stardom.
It's on my list too.
All right. It's our first daily double.
Yeah, I think we we'll make it a true daily double.
Yeah,
That's a great movie.
it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's kind of sad too, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
right.
for whatever reason, the times, discrimination, luck,
Right.
all
Yeah.
these things kind of, you know, what was it? Darlene Love what was she was doing, like house cleaning or something, or wasn't
Yeah,
she?
I think so.
And
Right.
Claudia Lanier, who was one of the Ikettes, was like teaching Spanish or something. you know,
Yeah.
it's like, to be like, up there,
Right, right.
and then to not have it happen.
I guess the one great success story from that is Sheryl Crow, right? Whether she was Michael Jackson's backup singer, and then
Right.
she went on to have her own huge career.
Yes. Yep.
But there's very few of those stories, right?
It's true. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think there's some people that had careers like Lisa Fisher, who has sung with Sting and the Rolling Stones. And
Yeah.
I think she's put out some solo records as well.
Luther Vandross was a backup singer for
David Bowie.
David Bowie, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
that's another one.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, it is a sad and at the same time inspiring,
Hmm.
film.
Yeah. But when
Um,
they solo Mary Clayton's vocals on "Give Me Shelter,"
that's like one of the great moments in movie history, sort of,
yeah. Oh, I know. It's
Um,
incredible.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a good choice. Yeah, that was on my list too.
cool. I think we'll probably have a couple more
I think so too. Yeah.
crossovers.
Should
So
I keep going, or do you want to talk more about that one?
no, I'm good. We
Okay.
can go.
This is a film my friend and I used to watch in high school. At lunch, we would go home and watch this. It's The Kids Are All Right, The Who.
Yeah.
It opens with them on the Smothers Brothers show, playing My Generation,
Hmm.
and then Keith Moon had rigged his drum kit with like explosives, way more explosives than anybody knew. And I guess he deafened Pete Townsend.
Oh, that's what did it. That's what started it.
That was part of it. Yeah. Like
Well,
if you go back and watch that clip, I mean, it's just this huge explosion,
I know Pete. I've seen it. Pete Townsend kind of freaks out, right?
Yeah, and then he comes staggering back. And I think Keith Moon got injured. He got cut. I think he runs off stage or something at some point. So,
Well, you rig your drum kit to explode. There might be
it might be
repercussions,
That's right. That's right. Play with fire. But it's such a fun documentary. It kind of skips all around, you know.
Yeah.
It starts the Smothers Brothers, it jumps ahead to, you know, the Who Are You sessions, back to the Marquee Club, you know, in the 60s.
Mm.
um I just think they were, you know, a unique band. You know, they kind of stood apart um from other bands in some ways.
Yeah.
um yeah, I think it's just a fun documentary, and it's like brings me back to.
This my guitar student who's 12, I think.
Hmm.
He asked me last lesson, why did Pete Townsend smash his guitars?
Mm.
I had no good answer for that. I
I think
said,
it
you
was
know
just
what? I think it was really irresponsible, actually. Like, these things cost a lot of money, and some people don't have any, you know? Um,
you being a responsible adult guitar teacher.
yeah, I think it's a little bit privileged to just be able to know that you're just going to get more, and you know.
Right. Well, there's a scene in the, I think it's in The Kids Are All Right, where he was smashing Rickenbackers, which are, as you know, pretty easy to smash. Not that you've done it, but the way they're built, you know,
I didn't even know
they're
that.
they're kind of delicate. You know, the necks are, you know, thin, and
Yeah.
they're semi-hollow body. And I
Mhm.
guess he used to run into this music store, run in, say, "I'm going to take this. I'll pay you later." You know, he would run in and out because he would smash it later that night.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I guess it was just their trademark thing after a while, you know.
Right. He was
Claim
an
to
art
fame.
student.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah.
But okay, that's a good choice. Yeah, I love the Who. I love the Who.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love the Who? I mean, I think that they are a little underrated, believe it or not.
I
If that's
think
possible.
so.
I mean, they're a super
Yeah.
group, but I think they are a little underrated.
Yeah. I think they put out some great records. I'm not crazy about all their records, but
Yeah.
um, I think, yeah, as a writer, Pete Townsend is really interesting.
Yep.
He's sometimes really raw, you know,
Mhm.
and vulnerable, and other times he's kind of funny and poignant and, you know, controversial. So, yeah,
All right.
I like
Good
it.
one.
Yeah.
My next one is Searching for Sugar Man,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
which I came to late. When that came out, it was a big deal. People were talking about it. I think it may have won some awards,
Right.
but I just never got to it until relatively recently, maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And
Same here. Yep.
mhm. And it really was an amazing, wonderful story,
Yeah.
and really well put together and very emotional,
Oh, definitely.
um, and really just touching, just really touching.
Hmm.
And, again, getting into that sadness factor too, like of just how many people toil in anonymity who produced great stuff, and just,
Yeah.
he was lucky. He had this very bizarre thing where he was super known in
Right.
South Africa.
Yeah.
Um, but, for every story like that, there's 100 more of people who didn't have a following in South Africa, and you just feel so, you just feel bad.
Yeah. How many people were out there who were, yeah.
But anyway, that was just a great movie, great
Yeah.
story, great
Oh, that's
music.
a good one. Yep. I wrote it down as I just wrote down documentaries, and that was one of them. Um,
That's on
and
your list too?
it is on my list. Yeah.
All right.
I know. I lost track of what number we're at, actually.
Yeah, I'm just kind of picking from the list now.
Yeah. All right. My next one is also another BBC documentary about Robert Wyatt, English musician, not really well known, but a very interesting story. Robert Wyatt was a drummer in the band Soft Machine in the 60s, kind of like a jazzy rock band. Um, and then I think in the early 70s, 72, 73, he got drunk at a party and fell out a window and broke his back. And he ended up in a wheelchair. and so he was completely changed how he made music because he was a drummer before, slightly manic,
Hmm.
very like kind of a fast drummer, in the style of Mitch Mitchell, maybe. You know, they were actually good friends. Um, but after his accident, he became mostly like a keyboard player and a vocalist and a songwriter. And he took up the trumpet. Um, and he still played percussions, but it was very kind of, almost flitty, with his hands. Um, and he's made some beautiful records. He recently retired, I think. He's in his mid to late 70s probably now. But he had Brian Eno producing his records in the 80s.
Hmm.
Um, uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
he's one of my favorites. Yeah,
Was that Big Ben that just went off in the background there?
yeah. I'm in London tonight, so
Yeah. Cool. So wait, what's the film called?
it's called The Robert Wyatt Story.
Huh.
It's another BBC documentary,
Uh-huh.
and I think that one's on YouTube as well, or it used to be.
Hmm.
And he's just a real fascinating person. When he was with the Soft Machine, they toured with Jimi Hendrix. Um, so he was friends with him, and he tells this great story about writing a song. And Jimmy came over, and because Robert was trying to write on the guitar, even though he was a drummer, he knew a little bit of guitar. And Jimmy said, "Oh, I can show you different ways to play those chords." And he said, "Oh, no, I've got it." So he said he turned down a lesson with probably the greatest guitar player ever. So
Wow.
how you are when you're young, I got it, So
Hmm.
um,
Cool.
yeah.
That sounds good.
And I have a funny anecdote, if Josephine doesn't mind me telling the story. Um, Last fall, I think, I follow his wife's an artist. She's a painter, and I follow her on Twitter. And she said that he wasn't feeling well. He was in the hospital, and if people wanted, he loves getting postcards and anything. If people want to send him postcards, they can send them to this address. And so Josephine has been doing these like Zentangles and really colorful things. And so we sent him one of the things that Josephine did. Oh, I hope you're feeling better. And probably like 6 months later, I get this postcard with Piglet on the cover. And I turn it over, and it's from Robert Wyatt. And it says,
Oh,
"Dear Josephine, thank you for the beautiful artwork."
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, yeah. So I'll
Wow.
have to, yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's great. Wow. Very
Yeah.
cool.
So that's my antidote for the night.
All right. That's a good one.
Yeah. All right. You're up.
All right. My next one is I think this came out in either the early 2000s or late 90s. It's a Wilco documentary called I Am
Oh, yeah.
Trying to Break Your Heart.
Yeah. Yep.
Have you seen that?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
That's really good. I've only seen it once, so I don't like have it off the top of my head, but basically it's behind the scenes look at the making of Yankee Hotel Foxtrot
Hmm.
album,
Yeah.
and really goes into the discord that was emerging at that time between Jeff Tweedy and I forget
Jay
his name.
Bennett.
Yeah,
Is it Jay Bennett? Is that his
Jay
name?
Bennett. Wait, Jay. Yeah, yeah. Right because he writes about how he has these two Jays in his life,
Oh, right. The other guy
Jay
from
Farrar and Jay
Uncle
Bennett.
Tupelo. Oh, yeah.
Okay. But aside from that whole thing, and it does get pretty tense, and I guess it could borderline get a little uncomfortable to watch at times. But
Yeah.
more interesting to me is just the creative process of making that record.
Yeah.
Uh, there isn't a lot on Wilco out there in terms of behind the scenes stuff, so that is really special.
Hmm.
That documentary.
Yeah.
So that yeah.
That's good. When did that come out?
Um, I'm not really sure, but I think the album came out. The Yankee Hotel Foxtrot came out around 2001, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm guessing that maybe came out shortly after
Okay.
2003, maybe something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, But my anecdote for the night is,
Yeah.
I follow Jeff Tweedy on Facebook,
Yep.
and I think I told you this story actually, but I uh, I wrote to him in a messenger message,
Uh-huh.
and I just was, thank you for all the great music, and I'm a songwriter too, and I've really been inspired by your writing.
Hmm.
Um, and I included an MP3 of a song that I kind of like. I wrote it in kind of a Wilco style,
Oh yeah.
and he wrote back, or at least I think he did. Maybe it's not him, maybe it's someone who
It's
keeps
probably
the
him.
I think it was him.
Yeah.
And he wrote, sounds great, keep it up.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
cool. I bet it was him. He doesn't seem like the type of person that would have someone
yeah,
doing the social media for him.
yeah. Who will ever, I'll never know, and I'll also never know if he really listened to it or if he just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah.
Still made me feel really good, and you know
Yeah. Yeah.
just a nice, if it was him, how amazing, right? Like, for
Right.
one
Exactly. Yeah.
brief second I interacted with Jeff Tweedy, so
It may not be the last time.
right. Who knows, maybe. So that's my next one. Now we can figure it out, but I'll tell you how many I have left.
Okay.
I have three left.
You have three left.
You have three left?
One, two, no, one, two, three. Blah, 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 blah. Six. I guess I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can we pause for a second?
Yeah,
Charlotte was calling me.
sure.
And then we can, okay, hold on one second.
I don't know if I can pause the recording. I think it'll end it and then, oh no, pause. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Okay, we're back. So
We're back. Those editors in the editing room.
yeah, they're amazing, right? Okay, so I'll just do my last three.
Okay.
Drum roll. Martin Scorsese, Bob Dylan documentary, No Direction Home.
On my list too.
Second Martin Scorsese film for me.
Yeah. That's
Oh
a
my
good one.
gosh. No, wait a second. The number 2 spot goes to The Last Waltz, another Martin Scorsese film.
That's on mine too.
And the number 1 is so far ahead as number 1 that honestly, 2 through 10 are like, this is the Star Wars of music documentaries for me.
When did it come out? What year?
I'm going to say maybe 86, 85 maybe.
And okay, can I guess?
Sure.
Give me some more hints.
You mentioned going to this concert in our last podcast.
Oh, stop making sense.
Stop making sense. Yes. Jonathan
Yeah.
Demme.
Yeah.
I don't think anything has ever been done better putting musicians on film. It's just,
Oh yeah, it's brilliant.
almost defies words that can describe it, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, I wrestled with that too. I had a whole bunch that probably would make my list next week as well. I think the other one I had on there was the Nina Simone one. What Happened, Miss Simone?
Yeah. Okay, I've got to watch that. I don't know how I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, such a great movie, and not the most uplifting, of course.
I think that's why I haven't watched it yet. I feel like I had to
Yeah.
get myself into a mental space for it.
Yeah, but I thought it was so well done.
Yeah.
And it kind of, it got more people talking about her, which is always great, because she was such an incredible musician.
Yeah.
What a life, so that was on there. I had all these other movies that kind of came into my head. I had the did you see Above Us Only Sky, the John Lennon one?
Yes, that was great.
That was a great one, and I loved the kind of from a different perspective, than we're used to hearing about.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, I thought parts of Rattle and Hum were really good,
Hmm.
and other parts kind of drove me nuts.
Yeah.
Like the whole, like them exploring American roots music,
Right.
kind of, I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like them playing in a Harlem church
Yeah.
and then playing with BB King.
Yeah. I think they got out of their lane a little bit around that time.
Yeah, but there's some parts of the movie I thought were really well done, and other parts I'm like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
here we're from, we're gonna come over here and tell you all about your roots culture for you,
Right.
you know. So, but anyway, um, did I have any others on there? Oh, Westway to the World, the Clash documentary that came
Uh-huh.
out in the early 2000s was really good, I thought.
Uh-huh.
Buena Vista Social Club.
Yeah. That was almost on mine too.
Yeah, I think that was, and it's funny, No Direction Home. I was wrestling with that and the Don't Look Back one, the D.A. Pennybaker one,
Yeah.
but I ended up choosing No Direction Home. Um,
I think that's so good.
yeah, the D.A. And truth be told, the Don't Look Back I've only seen in a pub in London. They were playing it, and we stuck around and watched it. I'm not sure why they were playing it, but
Hmm.
uh, so maybe I need to watch it like at home.
Yeah.
So
Some of my almosts were Muscle Shoals,
oh yeah,
Muscle Shoals documentary.
great one. Yeah.
Um, um,
What about the Wrecking Crew one?
yeah, that's good too. Uh, yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Also, from a kind of a comic point of view, Spinal Tap, which
Definitely.
is
Yes.
almost you really do forget sometimes that it's fictional, right?
Oh, I know. Because those things
Um,
come up,
yeah.
opening for a puppet show. Yeah.
Uh, and there's probably a few more. I just, these are the ones that came fast to my mind.
Yeah. No, no, definitely. Yep.
Um, there's that one about Mick Ronson.
I
Um,
haven't seen that one. I'd
yeah,
like to though. Yeah.
that was pretty good. Um, and then there's a handful of those like that Tom Waits one that are just kind of they're a little cookie cutter
Yeah.
and they should be better than they are, but they're just not that great.
Yep. Yep.
Um, there's a Bowie one like that just didn't blow me away.
Yeah. You think
Uh,
there'd be a really good documentary on Bowie, right?
yeah, I know.
It's
If there
probably
is, I haven't
somebody.
seen it.
Yeah. I think maybe someone's working on it right now.
Yeah,
Yeah. I wonder why there isn't, or even Iggy Pop, or Lou Reed or any of those guys,
yeah.
the Velvet Underground, all these kind of big names that
Mhm.
kind of,
I think some of them I consider films, and some of them I
yeah,
consider like sort of like TV specials.
uh-huh,
Like No Direction Home is a film.
right.
Sound City, Searching for Sugar Man, those are films.
Hmm.
And then sort of these sort of 1 hour to 1 hour and a half things that are on Amazon, I think sometimes feel more like a TV
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, I've tried some of those Amazon. I've done searches or whatever. Yeah, and you're right. It's like someone just kind of had their, you know, video program and they kind of spliced together these things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Um,
The Kinks need a documentary about them as well.
yeah,
What a
yeah.
great, I mean, they were so interesting. The brothers, I mean, and the huge Davies family, growing up in North London.
Hmm.
Um, and all the things. Yeah, I mean, they were, my God, there's so much great material there.
Come on, Martin Scorsese, get
I
on it
know. Go over to London and talk to Ray and Dave.
while you're still on the planet.
Yeah,
Try to make as many as you can.
definitely. Yeah, maybe.
Hey, careful there, buddy. He's defending Martin Scorsese, I guess.
I know. I wonder. Yeah, who else could make a Kinks documentary? Maybe. Who's that? Oh, Peter Greenaway, the guy who did the Draftsmith contract.
I should also throw out there was that really good, I don't know if you saw it, it's called 8 Days a Week.
Oh, the
Uh,
Ron Howard movie. Yeah,
yeah, that was really good.
that was good. Yeah, I thought about that too, but it didn't end up making the list.
I guess I didn't want to over Beatle,
Hmm.
because there's also the Beatles anthology.
Yeah, that was huge.
That was huge.
Yeah.
That came out in 1994, I think. I was in graduate school, uh,
Yep. I
and they
remember
showed
watching
them
that.
on PBS like over the
Yeah.
course of a week, maybe. I think it was a 7-part series, maybe more.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. They had the CDs that went along with it and the
Yeah,
book.
and the book, which I have,
Yeah.
the book somewhere.
Yeah. And then there's the whole Ken Burns thing with the jazz and
Oh, right, yeah, that's
country
like,
music.
yeah.
So
Uh, so yeah, those easily could have made it on the list.
yeah, I agree. I'm petitioning for a Kinks documentary. I'm fixated though. I can't get off that.
Oh, maybe you should make it.
I was thinking, who directed Secrets and Lies? Who was that? Mike Lee.
Like,
Do you know him?
yeah.
Yeah. I think he would be a great director for that.
Hmm.
I
Why?
don't know. I just think he's
Does he
got that.
capture British
he-
life really well.
Yeah, I think you would need someone English to capture the Kinks.
Right. That's true.
I don't as great a director as Scorsese is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he would get those nuances and that.
Who's the guy that directed Train Spotting?
Oh,
Peter
oh, I know
Boyle.
the writer. What's
Peter
that?
Boyle. Peter Boyle.
Right, yeah. Or Danny Boyle?
Danny Boyle. Peter Boyle is Young Frankenstein, right?
And John Lennon's neighbor, Dakota, right? Or something.
Really?
Yeah, they were friends.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny Boyle.
Right. Yeah.
He made that movie Yesterday.
He did, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, he could be a good choice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody should get on that.
I know. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
We'll update it on the next podcast. All right, I've got to drive now.
Okay.
But this was fun.
Yeah, good cast, as they say.
Yeah, we have some other episodes lined up, so
yeah, so stay tuned, everybody.